Some thoughts on Raw from Monday night in Oklahoma City. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar were there. Paul Heyman came out at the start of the show and he made a very interesting announcement. And the announcement is that basically there's no competition for Brock Lesnar and the WWE Championship. And so, at the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar is not going to defend his championship in a singles match or a multi-man match or anything like that. Seemingly, the title will not be on the line here either, but he is going to enter the Royal Rumble match himself. And he's going to do so from the number one position. Now, I say seemingly, as far as this being non-title, because they haven't exactly confirmed for sure that the title will not be on the line. I assume it won't be. If it was going to be on the line, they would have mentioned that. It would have been the selling point of the Royal Rumble, that the championship would be on the line like it was back in 2016. So unless they change their mind, we'll find out tomorrow night if they mention it, but the title will not be on the line here. And him being in the Royal Rumble match inspired a lot of negative opinion. And people sent me emails, what sense does this make? It makes no sense. Why is he not defending the championship? I'm okay with this. In fact, I like the idea. I like the idea a lot. There was no one built up to wrestle Brock Lesnar for the championship at the Royal Rumble. When I was thinking about this myself last week and putting the predictions and everything together for 2020, and I was looking and saying, who is Brock going to defend the title against at the Royal Rumble, which is coming up in only a few weeks? Who has been built up? Who has been positioned as somebody who should be challenging Lesnar for the championship? We have not seen Lesnar in a while. Okay, so it's not like the last time we saw him, there was a seed planted or some kind of angle was shot that, okay, that would be the obvious match. No, there was nothing. And right now you've got Kevin Owens and you've got Samoa Joe. They're all wrapped up with Seth Rollins and AOP. AJ Styles is doing his thing with Randy Orton. Everybody is occupied. The one rumor that I saw, the only even remote mention of a possible title match at the Royal Rumble that I had seen in recent weeks for Brock Lesnar was that he would defend the championship against Ricochet. And I laughed and I said, what has Ricochet done on this show in the last month to even hint at the idea that he belonged in a WWE championship match? The answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I don't care how good the match may or may not have been, and he would have bounced around for Brock like a rubber ball. And Brock does tend to work better with the smaller guys. Brock Lesnar against Ricochet in a title match makes no sense. You talk about things making no sense. That makes no sense. So that was not, I don't think that was ever going to happen. Rey Mysterio, he already lost to Lesnar. Drew McIntyre needs to be in the Rumble, and he is. He officially entered this week. He needs to be in the Rumble and then win and go on to challenge for the championship at WrestleMania. Not fight Brock Lesnar in a time filler match 2 or 3 months before Mania. So again, there was no obvious opponent for him to begin with. So instead of doing a meaningless match, or even worse, just not having him on the show at all, this at least adds some intrigue to the Royal Rumble match. Now maybe the rumors are true and Cain Velasquez is going to enter the Royal Rumble and maybe he'll even enter in the number 2 spot. And he'll dump Brock Lesnar out of the ring straight away. Brock will be gone in the first, 2 or 3 minutes of the match. Short night for Brock Lesnar so he can hit the showers and get the hell back home. I sure as hell don't want to see Cain Velasquez win the whole damn thing. I don't mind him if he's going to be in the Rumble, fine. Him winning the Royal Rumble? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, I'm sure he'll be a surprise entrant. He'll be the one to take out Lesnar. And then, maybe Lesnar ends up dumping him. He reaches up and he dumps him out, and then boom, he has an opponent for WrestleMania. Yawn is my reaction to all of that. My reaction to the idea of Cain Velasquez challenging for the championship at WrestleMania is yawn. What I would love to see, since Paul Heyman in his promo made sure to emphasize NXT, and there's a few ideas I'd like to see. I mentioned McIntyre. I'll get back to him in a second. But another idea that I would love to see, since there's no man apparently on Raw, SmackDown, or the NXT roster, according to Paul Heyman, who could take out the Beast, I'd love to see him face off with at least one NXT star in that Royal Rumble match. Maybe more than one. Lesnar and Matt Riddle, obviously. You're probably sick of me even talking about that at this point, because I've been talking about this for how many months now? But I'm telling you, that would make for a kick-ass match at WrestleMania. If they actually had the guts, if they had the balls to actually do that at WrestleMania, it would be a kick-ass match. How about Keith Lee? I think Riddle or Lee, either one of them, would be two fine choices. Even if just squaring up with Lesnar in the Rumble match. Forget WrestleMania. Just to have that moment, just to have that one, sequence with him would be fantastic. Imagine Keith Lee pouncing Brock Lesnar out over the top rope. Because Lesnar, when he takes big bumps, I know he's older now and everything, but Brock's a great bump taker. Especially when he was younger. And he was even more bigger and all swelled up than he is now. I mean, he would launch himself through the ropes, out over the top rope. He would take some pretty big bumps and over-exaggerated. But they look great. Remember back in 2002, there was one episode of Raw where Shawn Michaels gave him a super kick and he went flying out over the top rope. So imagine Keith Lee pouncing this man out over the top rope and eliminating him from the Royal Rumble. I would much rather see them take a chance on an NXT star wrestling Brock at WrestleMania than I would Cain Velasquez. Now, maybe that isn't the box office choice. They're thinking, that's not how they think of things. They think of things in terms of what is the biggest attraction? What's the biggest box office that we could do? And I will give you, Cain Velasquez, at least, he was a star in another sport. He has a name. How much weight that name carries here in 2020, I don't know, but would Kane and Brock be a bigger match that they could promote out in the media than Brock and Keith Lee? Yes. Which is why it's not going to happen. And fine, I understand that. But I'd still love to see it. Kofi Kingston is another possibility. Now, I really don't have interest in seeing Kofi go back to the WrestleMania main event to challenge Brock for the championship after he was destroyed in 8 seconds. Kofi had his run. It ended. He had this great story going into WrestleMania last year. He achieved something that had never been done before, in WWE. It was great. It was great. It just does not interest me as a WrestleMania match. But what a moment of revenge it would be if he was to sneak up behind Brock and dump him out of the ring. Given they're on separate brands, it may be the one chance he has to get revenge for that 8-second loss. Because don't forget, Brock's on Raw. Kofi's on SmackDown. If they're going to stay true to this brand split, it's not like they could do the match anyway. We still don't know the rules for the Royal Rumble. If you're going to be able to choose the champion you wrestle, or if you just got to stick to whatever brand you're on. Now, maybe it's been years since they've even done that. But the point is, they've done it before. They can change the rules. They can do anything they want. If they want to change the rules this year and introduce some kind of new wacky rule, they could do that. But here's another thought. And I like this idea too. Stop fucking around and playing games with Drew McIntyre and let him win the Royal Rumble. On the show Monday night, and this has been going on for a few weeks now, but on the show Monday night, we saw more personality, like babyface personality from Drew McIntyre than we have at any other point since he came back to the company, or at least since he was promoted from NXT to the main roster. He had a match with No Way Jose, and obviously he beat him quickly. But he's starting to do these little things that get you over as a babyface. Shawn Michaels used to stomp the leg, before the super kick, and everyone has their little thing that they do. Daniel Bryan would put his fingers in the air for the S thing before the running knee. And now before the Claymore kick, what he's started doing is he puts his fingers in the air and has the crowd count with him. Was it 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1, whatever it is. But he has them counting along before he does the kick. That's a babyface move. And then after he won, he got on the mic and he said, "How many of you want to see me give another Claymore?" So he went out of the ring. His body's everywhere because he had wiped out all of the conga line people. And he threw Jose back in the ring and did the same thing. Had the crowd count along, 1, 2, 3, and then he gave him another Claymore. So he's starting to come out of his shell in that way. They're clearly testing the waters, if nothing else, to see if he'll get over. And the people were into it. The people were cheering. The people were counting along with him. If that was a test, he passed. At least this 1 week, he passed. There's something there. It feels like now is the time. I thought he would have already had his time last year. It didn't happen. How much longer are you going to wait? You want to wait until 2021? Let's take another year off. Stop fucking around. And if you want to go all in on this guy, now is the time to do it. Because I think that with the right promotion and the right, just the right build, a Lesnar-McIntyre match. McIntyre is a big dude. Him face-to-face, standing side-by-side with Brock would be an impressive sight. I think that could work. There's other possibilities too. Aleister Black. How quickly do you want to push Aleister Black? Is it too soon to give him a surprise Rumble win and promote him in a championship match at WrestleMania? Probably. And actually, the match that I think would be more interesting if they were going to do that would be him against The Fiend. You want to throw a wild idea out there. Aleister Black wins the Royal Rumble and he chooses to face The Fiend. If you have the choice of your champion. That's a WrestleMania match that actually, or at least the build-up to it, could be more interesting than even doing something with Brock and Black. The point is, there's actually a few different fun possibilities for what to do with Brock Lesnar in that Royal Rumble match that don't involve Lesnar winning. So I don't get some of the hate that I'm seeing from people shitting on the idea. They had no interesting, credible opponents for him to get into the ring with on this show. So instead, they're spicing the Rumble match up a little bit. I like it. I think it's a great idea.